that we've prepared for you today. We're excited about some of the recent product updates we've done and some of the new features that we're launching in the future. If you do have any questions, you can use the chat or the Q&A section, and we'd be happy to answer them as we go through the presentation here. If we'll get started, and this presentation will take about 20 minutes, and we'll walk through a PowerPoint and then also a bit about the product. As far as an agenda goes, we'll start off with some market trends, talking about some of the changes that are impacting businesses today and impacts to your business as managed service providers and partners of ours. The second thing is we'll look at a general product overview and recent product updates that CurrentWare has released and launched. We'll talk about some of the upcoming features and some exciting new developments that we're looking at. We'll talk about the Certified Partner Program and then open it up for Q&A if there are any questions. Some of the key market trends that we've noticed in the past 6 to 12 months, the first is related to data breaches in the United States specifically. We've seen that a significant increase, about 10 times the number of records have been exposed when you compare 2008 to 2018. So the security when it comes to organizations' responsibilities, the amount of data they're actually collecting, the sophistication of cyber attacks and cyber threats has become a global phenomenon and a global requirement for businesses to really understand how to protect their data and how to prevent data breaches. There's also obviously changes in regulatory and compliance requirements. California is introducing their Consumer and Privacy Act. We've got GDPR. Even countries like Turkey are being more stringent on the ways that data must be processed and must be transmitted and protected. So as this continues to trend, it's really important to ensure that businesses are monitoring, but also controlling their data and how it's used. The second major trend we've seen is an increase in remote workers, which is leading to new security risks and productivity issues. 70% of people globally work remotely at least once a week. Improvements in internet connectivity and demand for more flexible work environments has led to this picture on the right of someone in a dress suit, but they're on their couch and working. So this is quite a common practice for a lot of businesses to now allow their workers to be flexible from where they work. And when we look at the actual threats and requirements that brings is, BYOD initiatives have increased security risks, and a lot of Wi-Fi related security incidents do occur at cafes and coffee shops and these types of environments. So being aware of the risks that remote workers and out of office type of activities present is really important for organizations. The third key thing we've seen is end of engineering on key products. We've seen transitions from large companies like GFI and Symantec away from web restriction, web monitoring, and endpoint products. Some of them are doing it for capital and business reasons. Others are doing it because of competitive reasons or seeing that they don't want to support these types of products anymore. The demand for these replacements has never been higher. So seeing some of these large customers, for example, with GFI Endpoint, leaving the Windows 10 support for Endpoint unless you're using their unlimited platform has created lots of issues for prospects and clients that we work with. So now we want to jump into some of the recent product updates that we've launched as CurrentWare. In the latest version that we're working off is version 5.4.2. So I'm going to go through some of these products updates, and then my colleague Sai will actually show you them in the CurrentWare platform. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to show you the products that we're speaking about today. So obviously Browse Control is our internet blocking and filtering solution. BrowseReporter is web monitoring and reporting. AccessPatrol is the endpoint device blocking software, and nPower Management is our remote power management solution. So all four of these modules work off the same server and console and have a common client agent. So A lot of the times, clients of yours may start with one product and then add more later. But at the moment, it gives them that flexibility to start with one, add others, or start with all of them at the start. As most of you know, CurrentWare is software-based, so no physical appliances required. Really flexible ways to implement Windows support. You can set up things by location, by department, set up CurrentWare in computer or user mode, invisible or stealth mode. And it does support offsite management for all of our products. So it is quite a flexible solution and suite that makes it easy for your customers to meet the requirements that they need. So one of the first major product updates we want to cover today was the new reporting engine. So all of the CurrentWare reports for BrowseReporter and Browse Control have been redesigned using the new Telerik report viewer. Benefits of these new reports are a modern look, and reading exporting functions is a lot easier. So you're going to get a table of contents, a search tool, faster performance, and the ability to export to PDF. So with the prevalence of the importance of reports in BrowseReporter and AccessPatrol, having that ability to have a new reporting engine was a request by a number of our customers and development driven by our product team. So we were excited to launch this in version 5.4.1. You can see some of the new reports here. These reports are just some samples of BrowseReporter, and Sai in a couple minutes will walk through the details of those reports to show you them in a bit more live fashion. But making them a lot more simple to understand and faster was one of the keys to this development. And here's a few examples of the access control reports from a file operations and device access perspective to look at which files have been transferred, for example, between the different endpoints from and to, and then also the device's access. One of the other really interesting developments that we've made in the last few months is related to AccessPatrol and the access code generator. So this is giving users the ability to generate a temporary access code for endpoint devices. Previously, administrators would have to make manual updates and change their group settings with CurrentWare to give someone access to a USB or endpoint, but now they can quickly grant the temporary access without having to reconfigure their groups. We'll show this feature to you in a minute here, but the ability for this temporary access was requested by many of our AccessPatrol customers because of the specific requirements that their organization typically set up for their endpoints. So for example, maybe an organization isn't allowing the use of any USBs except for company approved ones, but they've received a USB device from a client that they need to download something off of. So this type of feature becomes really useful when there's that temporary need for a certain type of endpoint to be accessed. The third new feature we wanted to highlight is related to a user mode with respect to device tracking on AccessPatrol. So having the ability to generate reports by user was something that, again, was requested by a number of our clients. It gives you a lot more insight into who's actually completing tasks and activities with respect to your endpoints. So having ability to know whether it was a different user on a device and what activities they've completed has become a lot more flexible and easy to understand when looking at the AccessPatrol user mode. So my colleague Sai is now going to take over and just walk through these three features from the CurrentWare console, and then we'll cover some of the future product updates shortly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Neil. Just going to switch over to our CurrentWare console. Okay. Give me 1 second. There you go. You should be able to see my console right now. So with the latest version of CurrentWare, we've added the reporting functionality in BrowseReporter and AccessPatrol. We've upgraded them from our older traditional report to the new Telerik report viewer. So I'm just going to run through 2 reports here from BrowseReporter, and then I'll show you guys 2 reports from AccessPatrol. So the first one here, sites visited. Many of you have already seen this reports before, but now it's going to have a table of content, And then on the very first page in the tree view on the left-hand side as well. And when you click into the report, it's now listed in a more modern format. So here the tables, you can sort them at the very top if you need to. And also we have a linking right there within the URLs. And so everything looks a little different and a bit speedier. The second report I want to show you is the top end domain by browsing type. So this report will give you a one-page summary of the employee's activities. So the very first thing is that you'll notice is there is a new graph here. It's got all the data accumulated here for active time and total time. So everything comes out nicely in a one-page format. And once again, these reports are available in PDF format as well. So when you use the email reports to have it sent directly into your email, this is what you'll see in those format. So the next thing would be in AccessPatrol. We have the new reports. So the very first one is file operation history. And this one will show you what files are being transferred from the employee's computer to an external device or the other way around. So here, for example, we have three different devices here, the A-Data USB flash drive, Seagate, and Lexar flash drive. And you can see the file operations that are happening within these drives. So for example, there are some write and delete actions for these files. And then for the second device there are some save as and delete actions for certain licensing files. So you get full visibility of what the end user is transferring onto their endpoint devices. And then just one more report here for AccessPatrol, which is access of blocked devices. So if employees are bringing in their own personal devices, you'll be able to see it in this report. And you can see at what time did they bring those devices in and how many times did they attempt to access them. So this report will show you exactly that. Next thing I want to show you guys is the new feature of the access code generator. So the access code generator, what you can do here is create a access code for one-time use. And this one, when you generate it from this window, this is the code that you can read out to the end user. And then the end user would go into their own computer. Now I have the client installed on this one as well. So we're gonna pretend like I'm one of the end user. Essentially, I just go into control panel. Let's see. Apologize, it's not sharing here. Let me just switch it over. Okay. So in control panel, okay, there is the ability to type in the access code. So once I input the access code, whether the administrator reads this code to me over the phone, or I get an email, or it comes from a chat message, as soon as I put this in here, it will unlock access for my USB ports. It will unlock all access. So any external devices will be unlocked, and I'll gain access for 1 hour. And there is an expiry date on that code, so it's only valid for today. If I don't use that by today, then it will not work anymore. So that's the access code generator, our second new feature. And then lastly, we now have AccessPatrol in user mode. In user mode, what's important here is no longer do you need to control the devices based on computer. You can now do it from a Windows user profile. So no matter where the user goes, if they plug in any USB key, you can set it to always block, or if they have a specific allow list of allowed devices, that will follow them anywhere on the network as long as you have the CurrentWare client installed. So User mode is now available in AccessPatrol as well.
Okay.
All right, so that's the last feature. Let me just give it back to you.
Perfect. So hope the overview of some of those features that we have recently updated are helpful for you to understand. Now we want to talk about some of the upcoming product features that CurrentWare is launching. The first really exciting one is a web console to manage administrative functions. I think this is something that has been requested for a number of months, and our team is really excited to have started the development on this side of the administrative console. So how this will work is everything will still be based on your server, and the data will be on premise, but you'll be able to actually access the administrative console that Sai was recently showing you from a web console. So whether you're out of office or whether you are at a different computer, you'll be able to access those administrative consoles with a username and login, and we'll be excited to provide some of those updates in Q1 for you. The second thing we wanted to point out today was related to alerting features for AccessPatrol. So similar to how BrowseReporter works with alerting when certain actions occur, certain websites are visited, AccessPatrol's alerting feature will be able to tell you if certain users have maybe plugged in a non-allowed device, or they've tried to transfer data or a certain file type, etc. So that's an exciting feature that'll be coming out in the next version. In addition, we'll also have specific file type blocking for AccessPatrol. So instead of just blocking or allowing certain device types, having the ability to block certain file types. So never allow PowerPoints to be transferred, or never allow Excel documents to be transferred is a common function that gets requested, and we'll be building that out in the future. The last thing is related to Active Directory sync and an improvement on the way that our sync is being done. So reducing the overhead for customers with respect to managing the different groupings and directories and users by syncing more effectively with Active Directory. So depending on the type of operation that you run, whether you're doing this for your clients or how they're actually using CurrentWare, the Active Directory sync improvement will be a significant assistance and reduction in overhead with managing CurrentWare. Wanted to talk about our certified partner program. So with the certified partner program, we're excited to provide benefits for our partners, and we'll walk through those in a few minutes here. Some of the reasons that MSPs and partners work with us are a few different elements related to productivity or security or the simplicity of using CurrentWare. So we're really excited about having a certified partner program and allowing partners to thrive by providing the CurrentWare solution for their customers. Here's just a few examples of end users who've provided great reviews for us about the software, and we're excited about how simple CurrentWare has been always explained to customers and how much they enjoy using it. So why CurrentWare in general? We've got our certified pricing discounts. It's generally a short sales cycle. It's a free trial off our website and the ability to try it out and use the entire product with a fully functional demo. So customers end up using it and understanding it quite quickly. Mentioned a few times the simplicity. There is a recurring revenue component. You have the ability to have maintenance and support. It is optional, but by renewing that, you get our great product updates and improvements. We've also got North American pre and post-sale support via phone, email, or live chat. So we're really proud of this. Our headquarters is based in Toronto, Canada, and we're always excited to work with partners like yourself to assist them with their evaluation or questions with respect to the software. So thank you everyone for attending this Q4 webinar for our MSPs and partners. Wanted to open up the floor to questions to see if there's any that people had. Just give everyone a moment here to ask any questions. Okay, we've got one here. So yeah, from Phil, yes, we'll definitely be sending out a recording of this presentation, and we'll be sharing it for our users and for people who maybe missed the presentation as well. We've got another question about how long does the BrowseReporter store the data? You actually get to choose how long you store the data for. So by default, our system enables it for 1 year, but you can store it as long as you want. We've got clients who store their data forever, and we've got clients who store it for a few years or a few months. So depending on the needs of your customer and the organization, then you have the ability to store it for those needs. And especially with legal and regulatory and compliance that may become important from a BrowseReporter perspective, storing it forever can be beneficial. And is there any other questions? And last question that just came in was, how do companies typically implement access patrol? What type of policies do they put in place? So that's a great question. With respect to preventing data breaches and figuring out the best endpoint protection strategy for your business, having a policy that leads to flexibility to allow and not interrupt your operations, but also secure your environment is really important. So what we typically see is USBs are typically blocked for all users, except for company-approved USB devices. So that's a pretty standard way that we've seen customers of ours use Access Patrol. So they've got one type of one type of manufacturer and one type of USB key, and they approve those by serial number with Access Patrol, and that allows them to more effectively manage their environment. We also typically see things like Bluetooth, et cetera, turned off, and blocking of iPhones and sound cards, et cetera. So really trying to secure the endpoints on these devices. So I think that was the last question there. We really appreciate everyone taking the time to look at the update that we've provided today, and we will be sending out a recording of this presentation. And thanks to everyone, and look forward to assisting with any CurrentWare related inquiries that you may have. Thank you.